This is a review of my first time riding Amtrak. The portion that I rode was from Reno, Nevada to Denver, Colorado. Just a heads up, there will be random train facts and observations that I had because I'm a bit of a train nerd. So I left where I live in Ohio and had to travel to Las Vegas for work. I flew out and wanted to do a portion on the way back via Amtrak. I'd had a friend that had rode Amtrak 3 or 4 years ago, and he did a similar thing, only he traveled there and back via Amtrak. And he said both going there and coming back was filled with delays, and that kind of made me worried. So I just did the return portion. We actually arrived ahead of schedule. And what I'd heard from, and when I talked to other passengers on the train, the California Zephyr is often ahead of schedule, which was cool to learn. So when I was planning the trip out, I really wanted to take advantage of seeing as much as I could. And what I found out was with the California Zephyr is that there are certain portions, like any of the Amtrak routes across the country, that are in the dark or that are at night. Originally, I had thought to do the Salt Lake to Denver route, but that would mean I needed to get on the California Zephyr around 3 a.m. And then the first portion of the ride would be at night. So what I ended up doing was getting on at Reno around 3 p.m. and then riding through the night to wake up in Colorado and then eventually get to Denver around 6:30 p.m. So all in all, it was a really enjoyable experience. I grabbed a seat in coach. I was a little nervous about sleeping through the night on a train, as I've never done that before. The jump to a half a room or a full room was quite a bit more and out of my budget. If you can swing it, I would recommend it, as I heard a lot of good things. But all in all, not too bad. It did get a bit cold in my car, but I think there was a heating issue. So normally you're nice and warm or cool. And I know a lot of people just slept fine. So the way the train was laid out was really neat. There was two P42 locomotives up front, which I guess are pretty standard. The P40 series is pretty standard these days with Amtrak's operations. And then there was a baggage car for check bags, and then two sleeper cars, then the restaurant car, is that what you'd call it? That you could reserve a table, and then there was a kitchen below. I ended up doing that for dinner one night, and the food was actually pretty good, way better than airplane food. And then one of the options was a steak, which I didn't get, but you could actually choose the wellness, whether you wanted rare, medium rare, whatever, which means they were cooking it downstairs, which kind of blew me away. I expected, there to be something similar to airplane food, microwave meals, stuff like that. It ended up being, you got a salad, main course, a dessert, and then I believe you got a free alcoholic beverage as well, all for like $45. And it was fresh. It was good. It's family style seating, so you can't usually get your own table unless there's 4 of you. But I really enjoyed it. It was fun to meet some new people, talk about their experience on the train and other train trips they'd taken, and it was nice. Behind the kitchen car is the observation car with a cafe down below. By far my favorite car on the ride. I spent probably the most time in there besides the time I was trying to sleep, just because the views were incredible. On this portion between Salt Lake and Denver, Glenwood Canyon, which you can see here, is just absolutely incredible. The walls of the canyon go up and you take full advantage of the windows that go so high on this car. Behind the observation car, there were 2 coach cars, and I was actually in the last car. And the best way I can describe it is if, you were to take almost like the first class seats on an airplane, like big old seats, and then rip out the row in front of you, what would normally be on an airplane. And that's basically the amount of space you get. So, just a ton of room. And unlike an airplane, you can get up and walk around whenever, which was really nice. It was really neat. as someone who likes trains and railroads, to see UP's operations. Got to see obviously a lot of freight trains go by. I didn't know. I thought that that freight trains got preference, but it's actually the opposite. The conductor told me that Amtrak, 99% of the time they get preference on the rail. So we were passing quite a few freight trains, and in certain sections, the California Zephyr can get up to, I believe, like 85 mile an hour and just fly, which was really neat. I think I was told that the Superliner cars were rated for like 100 mile an hour, maybe 110, but just the tracks we were on, we could only be doing like 85 or something like that. And then we were pulling a kitchen car that was out of service, I guess, from California back to Chicago. You couldn't go back and see, but it was back there. So that was kind of the build of the train, which was neat. If you follow this channel, I'm building a model train layout, and in a past video, I've talked about all of the passenger trains that I've ridden, and I usually love to grab like a passenger car in HO. So I couldn't resist the urge to hop online and grab a Superliner car in HO, which was really exciting. But I kind of made the mistake. I hopped on eBay and I bid on 3 cars, only expecting to get 1, and got all 3. But that was exciting. And now I have 2 coach cars, and I believe the kitchen or restaurant car. Or was it the lounge? One of the 2. So it'll be neat to have that on the layout. But yeah, all in all, definitely would recommend Amtrak to, as compared to flying or driving. It's not, I understand you can't go anywhere on Amtrak, but if you get the chance, I definitely recommend it. It's very smooth. There's no real jerking motion. I expected that, when the train started and stopped. There were certain points where I was looking down at my phone, texting, and I hadn't even realized we'd come to a stop, or we'd be stopped, and I hadn't even realized we'd started moving again. So overall, definitely something worth trying. I'd highly recommend the California Zephyr. Probably any portion, but the Reno to Denver is a very cool portion. Tons of great views. Worth trying. So if you are still here in this part of the video, thank you for the support. Consider hitting the like button and subscribing. And you can also get hooked up with this cool mug. Oh, I don't think it's gonna. That helps support the layout. You can do that by joining my Patreon. And it's just $5. I'll send you this mug for free. It's definitely one of my favorites. It works. Can attest to that as well. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.